Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade. I'm a dermatology registered nurse. Here we talk about dermatology, nursing, and growth. Today is the second video of a four-part series where I am just telling you about my journey. On the first video, I talked about how and why I became a medical assistant. And on today's video, I'm going to be talking about how and why I became a registered nurse. So I'm just going to jump right in. So, to give you some context about my journey to nursing, I have to take you all the way back until when I had my twins. So, I think I mentioned in the last video that I had a set of twins at a very young age. And so, when I had them, I actually had them very early. So, they were premature. I had them at 27 weeks gestation. And that means that we spent a lot of time in the neonatal ICU, in the NICU. And that was really my first introduction to hospitals. It was my first introduction to motherhood, of course. It was my first introduction to nursing. I knew nothing about that world prior to then. That was a really tough time in my life because I was at a fragile age. And one thing that you worry about so much, motherhood, I thought I was failing already. I couldn't even do the first thing right, and that was bring the boys into the world, go carry them to term. And so I had them early, which was a devastating time. But the nurses, those nurses, they were my real life superheroes. They taught me everything I needed to know about how to take care of my boys. They really helped me understand what was going on. They empowered me to be the best mother I could in a situation that we were in at the time. And when I left that hospital 2.5 months later, I knew that nursing was for me. Now, I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew that I wanted to be a nurse and I knew that I wanted to work in the neonatal ICU. And that's what I thought at the time. And so my whole journey was to get to that point. It was to become a nurse and to work in a NICU. And so that was really my whole focus. And at the time, I didn't know that it was this highly coveted position that a lot of nurses wanted to have. There's a lot of competition to get in the NICU. I had no idea about any of that. All I knew was that I wanted to give the same care to the babies and to the mothers that the nurses had given me during my time of need. So that was my motivation to go to the NICU or to become a nurse. Now, like I said, I had no clue how I was going to get there. And then, of course, once the boys came home and reality hit, I really had no clue how I was going to become a nurse. So that was a whole journey in itself. And it's also a part of the reason why I went to medical assisting first, was because I needed, like I said before, I needed income that I can make quickly. And I didn't think that I had a support system, or I didn't think that I could do nursing school at the time. Now, so I did the medical assisting and I was really grateful for that. But I always had it in the back of my mind that I still wanted to be a nurse, even though I wasn't exactly sure that I could be. Today I'm wearing a shirt that says she believed she could, so she did. Now I wish I could say that that was true for every point of my journey. Today, I feel like this is mostly true for me. But as a young adult, 19 and in my 20s, even into my 30s, I don't think I believed really that I could be a nurse. Matter of fact, I know I didn't believe I could be a nurse. I didn't think that I can go to school and be successful as at the time I was a single parent. I didn't think that I can be successful because at the time I didn't think that I was smart enough. And I just really didn't think that I was the kind of person who could really be a nurse. But I still decided I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and take the prerequisites. I'll just go ahead and so I started taking classes slowly. And it took me a really long time to get through my prerequisites. It took me so long that I stopped telling people I was in school because it just took me, it literally, so what should take most people 2.5 years, or sometimes even a year. Some people go through really fast, but it took me 7 years to get through all of my prerequisites. And so, like I said, I was single and I was just taking 2 classes at a time. And I remember the first time I stepped onto the community college campus and I got the syllabus and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to go to nursing school, these are the classes I have to take. And so I looked at the timeline and I'm like, oh, well, this timeline is for people who are going full time. So I hate math, but I really appreciate doing the math behind things. So I needed to break down how long it was going to take me. So I went ahead and divided up them classes. So when I did the math behind it, I was like, oh, this is really going to take me like 7 years. And I could have let that discourage me. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going one step at a time. I may not ever make it to nursing school, but at least maybe I'll come out with an associate's degree. And really, that's what initially what I really thought. I was like, I'm just going to take the prereqs that's required for nursing school. And then once I get my associate's degree, I'll be able to say, hey, I got my associate's degree. And that's really what I thought that I was doing. So in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, well, if I ever have the chance to go to nursing school, then I'll have these classes. But in the meantime, I'll just get the associate's degree. The other thing is that a lot of times the nursing schools, they want the sciences to be newer. And then after so many years, they expire. And so I was like, I'm going to take all these classes. And then by the time I get to the end, all my science classes are going to be expired. So I'm going to have to retake classes. And that was also a little bit discouraging. However, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the classes. I'm going to keep moving forward one step at a time. So that's what I did. I would take one class at night in person, and then I would take one class online every semester. And I did that for 7 years. And I didn't tell people. A few people knew that I was in school, but most of it, I just kept it a secret because I was afraid to tell people that I wanted to be that me, that I thought that I could be a nurse, like that I wanted to go to nursing school. I didn't want to tell people this because then I didn't want people to have all these high expectations of me and really expect me to go because I'm like, I probably am not really going to nursing school. And that's what I really thought for years. Outside of my mom, there was 2 other people who really believed in me and pushed me to just do it. So after I finished my prerequisites, I said, okay, I'm going to go and take the entrance exam. Now, I still don't know what school I'm going to. I really still don't really believe that I'm going to nursing school because I haven't found a school that I could work full time and work full time and go to school. All the nursing schools that I was coming across, you had to like commit to them full time and work part time. There was no way that I can do that as a single parent. And then also, I had my mother, she was helping me with the boys. And so I was helping to support her so that she can help me. And so we were helping each other. And I'm like, well, I really can't drop down to part time hours, but I'm just going to go ahead and just take the entrance exam. So I took the entrance exam, which was initially the TEAS test, and I failed it. Like the math part, I really bombed it. I'm terrible at math. And, I think for a long time that was another part of the reason why I didn't think that I can be a nurse. And so I was allowing the math to scare me or to make me believe that I couldn't be a nurse. So I took the TEAS test and I think I must have made, I don't even know, it was bad. Maybe like less than 50% on the math portion. And so I just was like, okay, tried it, failed it, done with that. And I didn't take the test. I didn't retake the test for 2 years. Yep, 2 years. So you figure it took me like 7 years to get through the prerequisites, and then maybe another year to 2 years just to pass the entrance exam. But honestly, I believe that all the things happen for a reason. I think that our steps are ordered by God. I think that even though we can't see in the moment the reason why things are happening, there's always a reason. And so during that time, I'm still working as a medical assistant in dermatology. I'm still picking up all this great knowledge. I'm still, my path has been just outlined for me. I'm getting this experience in derm that I love, jobs that at the time, those jobs just really, that just was working. It was working. I didn't really feel like that was my destiny to work in dermatology. I just felt like they were good jobs. They were okay jobs. The money helped support my family, and I was satisfied with that at the time. However, when I decided to start looking at nursing schools again, a couple years after I failed the TEAS test, I'm putting in online nursing programs, and so which I had done several times over the years. And my thought process was they were more online programs for other things, so maybe they would start having something for nursing. And that's how I found the school that I went to eventually, WGU. So WGU is Western Governors University. So I look up their information. I'm like, this has got to be a scam. There's no way they could have an online nursing program. I really thought that it was going to be a scam. So I scheduled the appointment with the enrollment counselor, and it turns out to be like a real program. I was shocked. So I'm looking at the requirements, and guess what? Their science, they don't have a requirement for the sciences, like they never expire. So that's one of those things that I worried about all those years, was the science is expiring. And this thing, like, there's no requirement. The second thing is now, all those years I'm worried about the math. I'm worried about the math. And in this program, like they have a math class. It was like one math class, and it was statistics. And so I was like, I don't know about the statistics. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the statistics class, but here we go. So um, I just I was like, okay, so I feel like maybe, I might be able to do this. It's online. Like the program is structured where it's like 80% online, is hybrid. It's 80% online and about 20% in person for clinicals and labs. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I had taken all those years, I had been taking online classes. I was taking one class online and one class in person. So I already know how to study autonomously. I don't need somebody to be like in my face teaching me stuff. So this would be the perfect program for me. And I get to still work full time, which is very, very important for me. So I'm like, all the things that I have been worried about for all the years, none of those problems existed. Like there was a solution for all of those problems. And then, so the last problem was just me. Like, did I believe in myself enough to be able to do it? Did I believe in myself enough? And so, even when I didn't believe in myself enough, I mean, because I still had my doubts, but I'm the kind of person is that I still will move forward, even with some doubts. Not all the time. I still have a lot of imposter syndrome, and I'm still working through a lot of things. Even today, even now, I'm still working through a lot of imposter syndrome. But I do find that I've been pretty brave. In my 20s and my 30s, I was brave. I have to tell you about some more of my brave stories, like me moving halfway across the country and had never even seen the place I was moving to. That's a story for another day. But at the time, I was with my now husband, and were we married yet? I don't think we were married yet when I started. Actually, we had been married 3 years when I started nursing school. So he thought that I can do it. I kind of thought that maybe I could do it. And so I went ahead and applied, and I got accepted to the program. Like, what? These people actually want to put me in nursing school? Don't they know that I can't do math? They didn't know. But anyhow, I made it through nursing school. It was 2.5 years, and I graduated in 2020 from WGU with my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and I passed my NCLEX on the first try. If there's any questions about studying or doing an online program, or how to keep yourself motivated throughout a nursing program like that, or just any nursing program, because every nursing program, you have to have some level of autonomy. You have to be able to motivate yourself and get through. So if there's any questions, or you want me to make a specific video talking about any specific topic related to nursing school, then let me know. So I was a real live nurse in 2020, which is still kind of crazy to me, but here I am. And what's interesting is that before I graduated, I actually didn't think that I would still have the opportunity to stay in dermatology. I kind of figured that my dermatology career was over. And the reason is, It's because every office I worked at only employed medical assistants. That's it. I worked with one LVN, and she basically functioned just like a medical assistant. And I really think that she just wanted to work in dermatology. And where she came from, they hired nurses, but it was not in the same capacity here when she got here. So she didn't even stay very long. So that was that. So I just figured that once I became a nurse, I would have to move on to something different, which was okay because, like I said, when I started this journey, it was all about me going to the NICU and being a NICU nurse. So that's what it was. Then when I did graduate, so I graduated, started applying for jobs. I was applying for all the jobs. I applied for residencies in the NICU, med surge, or I applied for so many jobs. I was just going to take anything. And so I had gotten several offers. So I got an offer for med surge at the hospital that I was working at. So in addition to working as a dermatology MA, I went ahead and picked up a PRN position as a patient care tech. And it's because I had never worked in a hospital before, so I really wanted to get that experience, and I wanted to get my foot in the door at the hospital. So I went ahead and got that job. And so I'm working there like 1 day a week or 2 days a week, or however many days I can fit in based on my nursing school schedule and based on what hours I'm working at the derm office. And so I'm working there PRN. And so they offered me a position in their residency on the med surg floor. And then I saw that there was a dermatology practice who also had plastic surgery side. And so at that practice, the dermatologists were doing liposuction and they needed a registered nurse. So I went ahead and applied for that job. And actually, that is the very first job I had as a nurse. I was working for a outpatient clinic that was dermatology and plastic surgery. And so I was helping the dermatologist with her derm stuff on the days that she was in clinic, and then with her liposuction patients on the days that we had surgery. However, that didn't last long. So I had gotten a call from another residency program offering me a position in the neonatal ICU. And I accepted the position because I had this long journey, all these years. This is really what I wanted. And the job that I had gotten at that derm plastic surgery office, it was okay, but there was really bad culture and the nurses were kind of mean. So when I got the call about the neonatal ICU, it was like a full circle moment for me. So I went ahead and took that job. And so that's how I got into the NICU. And so, you know, I just, I've done the things that I didn't think that I could do. I became a nurse, I worked in the NICU, and come to find out the math that we do as a nurse, like it's math that I can do. So I was all worried about all the wrong things. And so I think that if you are going on this journey, then you should believe in yourself more than I did. And, just try. And if you fail, then you try again. But if you keep going and keep just putting one foot in front of the other, you'll make it to the destination you're trying to get to. Anyways, I know this was a really long video, but I wanted to tell you about my journey, about nursing school and how I got there and what I did after nursing school. If you got questions or comments, please put them below and just stay tuned for the next video where I want to talk to you about all about what am I doing now. And so, because there's a little bit of dermatology and there's a little bit of NICU, it's a little bit mix of both right now. I'm in transition, as I like to call it. So just be looking for that video to come real soon. All right, later.